Hello, welcome back to our life, beginnings and always. I am on a roll today. I am excited. I am here for you. Last time we went on a really exciting adventure and you got to hear me crack the mic and do some crazy stuff. But here we are at the end of step 2. Time to end another summer with our pals. I think this isn't a very exciting epilogue. I don't remember it being that. A sandwich. And then summer ended. For a lot of kids, this is true, actually. It's about time to go back to school. It's not actually the last day of summer. The last day of summer is usually like September 20th. There was no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you were heading to class. Summer break, though. This is pretty true right now, unfortunately, for most children. But I'm still going to be playing this game all the way probably till Halloween at this rate. It was a bummer. Summer had been so much fun. When you thought about going back to school, it was with a sense of loss. I mean, she likes her friends and stuff, but summer is summer, man. Soon you wouldn't be able to choose how your days were spent without the school bell telling you where to be and when. It was with a heavy heart that you chose your outfit for the final days of freedom. It's so weird to think that in our life too, you get to go to school and see that side of things. Life was going to be different, but you had to come to think of summer vacation as the norm. But school sucked up the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a respite in the middle. So it's weird to me that school vacation... Have I talked about this before? I complained to a lot of people about this. Summer vacation gets shorter and shorter every year for kids. When I was a kid, we started summer vacation about mid-June, and we went back after Labor Day. Nowadays, kids, at least where I live here, are lucky if they get out mid-June, and they go back at like the beginning of August. They get like a month and a half if they're lucky of summer. It's crazy. Not hardly enough time for 15 fun moments of adventure. But there was something I was going to say about this, but I don't remember. Anyway, we're done. So rather than it being different, it was kind of a return to the normal. What does your normal life really mean? You consider how fondly your moms talked about their summer vacations as kids. You dimly recognized that 1 year pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. You'd gotten distracted, one arm still stuck out of a sleeve. You pulled it through and pushed your mind back to the present. The season had brought about plenty of changes of its own, like Kyra's visit, though that too was coming to an end today. You had become extremely fond of her. Yes, that's pretty much the way we feel about Kyra. Kyra is her best. She'd adopt herself into Kyra's family if she could. But not in the way you think. The neighborhood was about to feel a lot emptier. He finished dressing, which was good. Cove would be there any moment. You'd agreed to see his mom off together. Officially, the plan was that he would come by over to bring you around to his house when she was ready to set off, but you both knew that you'd be hanging out for at least a little while beforehand. Kyra's visit had troubled Cove when it first happened. It had been a sudden change thanks to Mr. Holden's infamous tendency to surprise people, but once he was able to adjust, he'd been in pretty good spirits with her around. It was a relief for everyone. Yeah, it feels natural. You get used to these things. Like, it feels forever since we started. The good thing is Kyra continues to be an ongoing major character in the game, and in just about as many moments, step 3, as she is in this one. The next thought that crossed your mind was, it would only be polite to get the door for Cove. You went downstairs to wait. You couldn't wait to see Cove, so you went downstairs to meet him when you arrived. Cove knew your house well enough. You could lounge in your room to wait for him. It would only be... No, Cove knew your house well enough. You could lounge in your room to wait for him. You made yourself comfortable on your bed. That was where you'd be hanging out, so there wasn't much point in going downstairs just to come straight back up again. It wouldn't be the first and probably won't be the last time Cove brought himself up to your room without you taking him there. A knock at the door broke you from idle daydream you've been having about endless summers. You recognized the sound immediately, different from the cheery tune Ma rapped out when she wanted your attention or Mom's direct beats, and Elizabeth tended to skip knocking completely. Those knocks were just hard enough to be heard and had uncommonly long pauses in between. They were Cove's. Come in. Cove opened the door, smiling casually as he caught your eye.
Hey.
Looks like you found my secret base. You might want to work on the secret part. He stepped further into the room. With other guests, you might have offered him a seat, but you and Cove were long past those tentative stages of friendship. The room was as familiar to him as his own. Ooh, no. Man slept here before, right? He comes in the window all the time. You watched as Cove sat down in your desk chair, his preferred spot. He rolled it closer to the bed to make it easier to chat, tweaking the angle so that he is fully facing you fully. I'm dyslexic, I'm sorry. Once happy with the position, he leaned in towards you, his hands held in his lap. His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving from the spot anytime soon, even though you had an appointment to keep together that day. When's your mom leaving?
Don't worry about it.
We've got some time. She's still gonna shower and stuff before she goes. She didn't want me to just keep hanging around while she was doing that. He lifted his head, his gaze drifting out through the window, and chuckled. I can't believe she's already leaving, just when I'm getting used to her being here every day. I can't believe we're already leaving you behind, just when I'm getting used to you. He leaned back on the chair, a wry smile tickling his cheeks. Yeah, you know, she'll be back. Time's going by so fast. He cocked his head thoughtfully before shrugging. He ran a hand through his hair before shaking his head, as if shaking off the topic like a dog whipping off water following a dip in the sea. Cole perched an elbow on the chair's arm and propped up his jaw against his curled hand. There was a natural ease to his movements, a familiarity from the echoes of all the times before when you sat in that same position. This was a really nice summer. Totally. It was alright. I'm glad we get to spend so much time together. I've had better. Looking forward to the next. You nodded your agreement. Totally. Cove nestled cozily in your chair, smiling at your response. How are your fish doing? Really good. Things in the tank are stable and everybody looks healthy. That was nice to hear. You learned from Cove how hard it was to maintain an aquarium. It is really hard. Dash has been busy. Keeps darting between the plants and out again when I walk by like a game of peekaboo. I love that we named the fish Dash. Or hide and seek. Yeah. Cove idly glanced out the window. He gave a resigned sigh. It's gonna be harder to surf, you know, at school. It's getting colder out. I don't want to get rusty. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without surfing. I like surfing, but I wish it liked me. I'm over surfing now. Surfing's cool when we can. Sorry, cool. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without surfing. I wish I could do it more outside of summer. He gave a light smile coupled with a shrugged response. You can, though. Just wear a wetsuit. I mean, the ocean is always cold. I guess it's just less fun when it's not warm outside. I don't know. Won't be long till we get our grades for that summer work we did. Cole's bang flared as he huffed, sinking in the chair. I'm not looking forward to that. It's not gonna be great for me. Do you think we'll see Miranda around school this year? So this is all I'm remembering. These are all the things we did this year! Probably. She could be in one of our classes again. You hoped you'd see her often. It'd be nice to see her again. You were interested in seeing her. It'd be nice to see her again. Boy. Nah, let's do this. Marina, Cove. The sudden call from downstairs caught you both unaware. You'd nearly forgotten the world outside your room. From the guilty look on his face, Cove had done the same. Just had a call. Cole's mom's ready to go. If you're quick, she might keep the mandated motherly smothering to a minimum. You doubted that, but it was nice that Mom and Miss Priest had their strange sense of humor in common. Your eyes met Cove's. Wordlessly, you headed downstairs together. I don't know, Mom's sense of humor kind of scares me. Each step on the way there was painfully slow, like he was trying to delay the inevitable. His whole body tensed leaving the house, and Cove froze altogether before you could both cross the street.
Oh.
The door's open. Dad must be taking your stuff out. He swallowed hard. She's really gonna leave. You smiled at him reassuringly. You gave him his back a pat. You rested his hand on his arm. This isn't the last time you'll ever see her. I know, but I got used to having her here. Yeah. It's hard to think of a world where you didn't have both your moms living at home with you, so you couldn't imagine how hurt Cove must have been feeling knowing his mom was leaving. You thought you saw his bottom lip quiver just before he turned his head away from you. We'll probably have better things, but we don't have to head over if you don't want to. No, it'll be worse if I miss her leaving. Okay. At that, some of the conflict wore on his face eased a bit. Together, you went across the street and inside his house by finding his parents in the living room surrounded by his mom's packed things. Hey, kids. Good timing. I just called the taxi.
Hi.
And hi, Marina. So glad I get to see you today. It was fabulous getting to know you this summer. I finally got to put a face to the name I've heard so many times. She winked and Cove pouted on cue over the teasing. I'm really happy I got to meet you. I hope you had a good time visiting. Bye. Well, this is the Baxter Ward response. Hopefully it won't be too long before we see each other again. Nodding, Kyra turned her attention back to her boys. She patted Cliff on the arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cove in a crushing hug. Initially, Cove squirmed to break free from her grip, but his mom wasn't phased, and she kept him locked in place. Heartbeats later, he gave in and hugged her back tightly.
I'm so glad.
I'm so happy that this trip was a success. Cliff looked like he was bursting with pride. Well, not a 100% success. That's still a passing grade, I think. Yeah, I almost ruined your family by telling Cove about you and your $20, man. Thinking back on everything that had happened this summer, he started to look sheepish. Cliff scratched his head of his head, and an awkward chuckle escaped Cove. Yeah, you got in trouble more than once, man. His eyes are pretty far apart. I mean, I guess everybody's are, but just the way he... I don't know. His eyes look pretty far apart sometimes. There were ways I could have gone smoother. I'm still keeping that in mind for the future.
All right.
Good for you, Cliff. And I'll be trying harder to stay more in the loop. You watched this Cove smile softly at both his parents, and you felt relieved seeing how much the whole family had come together since you first met them. Despite any underlying troubles, love was still there. After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived, rolling up in front of the house and in clear view of the open door. Kyra stood up, smiling sadly.
Well,
That's my ride. Yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kyra as you all filed out of the house. Father and son went with Kyra's bags in hand. Once outside, you spotted your family waiting by the street, and to your surprise, Derek was also with them. He stood uncomfortably, and he waved as soon as you noticed him.
what's up?
Hey, Marina. Hi, Cove. When'd you get here? My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago. Thought I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
Picked a busy time. Sorry. Derek couldn't even look at Cove. He nervously kept rolling a pebble with the bottom of his shoe. Yeah, always the polite man. He's upset that he interrupted this.
Sorry.
I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude. What? You're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. Oh, wait. That was his dad. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. I think so, too. It was apparent Derek would have preferred to have gotten there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming impolite, but the reassuring words soothed his worries. The tension he was holding in his body lessened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you. Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help? Nah. Don't worry yourself over that. We're just about set. In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kyra took one last look at everyone inside. Maybe we... That's a good one, right? Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting. It's time to head out. Saikai is playing Tabletop Simulator. Probably game day with her friend, I would imagine. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling, but Kyra still made no move to get into the taxi. She placed her attention on Cove. I'll call when I get to the airport and when I make it to Nevada. So she just she just flew here. I forgot about that. She didn't drive. Also, you better call the moment you walk in the door at home. Otherwise, we'll be wondering all night if you got into trouble on the way there.
Can do.
And could you call tomorrow, too, so I can tell you how school went? Of course. I want to hear all about it. I love this woman. She is such a ray of sunshine. Kara put a hand in Cove's head and affectionately and ruffled his hair one last time. She then let go, only to move into squeezing his cheeks in her hands instead. Mom!
Cove.
I love you so much, baby. She was chuckling by the time she freed him and rotted things. That was such an affectionate way to say Cove. Oh my god, let's listen to that again.
Cove.
She was chuckling by the time she'd freed him and rounded things off with a small tap to the tip of his nose. Cove rubbed at his face with a grin. Finally, she walked to the car while waving and took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked an arm around Cove's shoulder and kept him close as he began to pull away. For a moment, Cove looked up at his dad and then wrapped an arm across his back.
Bye.
Bye, travel safe. Kyra rolled down the window and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cove and Cliff. See you again. Before she was out of sight, you decided to call out with your family and hers. Wave goodbye, watch. Call out with your family and hers. As you added your voice to the others, you watched Kyra's smile grow larger. The cab turned down another road and completely disappeared from view. Cove let go of his dad and took a few steps out into the empty street, still looking in the direction his mom went. He smiled quietly, deep in thought. You got the impression that Cove was feeling better than he was earlier. He's finally content with the way things were. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on your shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her. That was a great vacation, huh? Yeah? I don't think so. You nodded in agreement. You shrugged. I don't know. What if you just hated every summer? Jeez. Summer isn't over until the second I fall asleep. No naps for you then. Can't risk you accidentally ending summer a few hours too early for the rest of us. Chuckling, you shook your head amused. I guess when you have kids, it really would feel like the end of summer when they go back to school. Cove walked back over the group, still genuinely happy. Derek grinned at him welcomely, and everyone else smiled at him. They smiled at him, even Elizabeth.
Well?
Oh, jeez. Ma clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to the present. So it's lunchtime. I think I'll put something special together. Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled. I bet you could use some help with that. That'd be absolutely wonderful. Derek glanced between the two of you, his eyebrows furrowed. Is there something I could do? Mom's exchanged a fond expression. Ma shook her head.
How sweet.
Derek, but it's alright. It's not your job. Technically, your dad left you under Cliff's watch. You're meant to be taken care of by him, not doing chores for the neighbors. Mom laughed a little over her own joke. She watched Derek look away discouraged.
It's okay.
I don't mind. He was a little bashful about it. You wondered if Mom's joke had just reminded him that he wasn't initially meant to be invited to lunch. It was getting a little awkward. I mean, number 87 here is going to be gone after this moment. Sadly. I'm going to miss this guy. Mom grinned sympathetically. Her comment was meant to lighten the mood, not bring it back down. Ma tried again to get things moving forward. Why don't you kids go have fun? You can all come back in about an hour. We'll make enough for everyone. Mom nodded in agreement.
Sounds good.
Another stunning idea, Lonnie. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. And...
Thank you.
That sounds like a plan, then. I don't want to cramp your style. I've got some stuff to work on, so I can be out of your hair this afternoon. You should come by later, too. No reason you should be the odd man out. Mom seemed amused as Cliff rubbed his neck nervously. He grinned, wavering, but please smile.
Thanks very much.
He looked over at the assembled crowd with knowing glances. I like the person that voiced Cliff. For this. I can help, too. With as many people as you're feeding, there's going to be a lot of food. Ma raised an eyebrow and Cliff waved it off.
Come on.
I insist. Derek would be missing time with his pals. This would be a break for me. I'm quite the chef. Yeah, you have to cook for yourself and your son, right? Ma and Mom exchanged further glances before Mom shrugged.
True.
If you're sure, we'll be happy to have you, Chef Cliff. Cliff's grin widened and seemed more hyped than you'd expect him to be about helping with lunch. Cove shook his head, a fond smile on his face. Then all of us grown-up people will be heading inside. I assume the rest of you kiddos are staying out. Maybe not all of them. Ma tilted her head, a silent question for Elizabeth. Your sister thought for a moment.
Alright.
I'll stay with the kids.
That's fantastic.
Why is that fantastic? Why is that exciting? Both your moms smiling at her, while Derek and Cove didn't seem to appreciate her phrasing. But with the plan decided, all three parents waved and headed out for your house. It was just your teenagers now. Elizabeth looked at you and the others, a curious expression on her face.
So?
What now? You silently wondered if Elizabeth only stayed out with you to avoid getting roped into work. Then again, she could just genuinely want to hang out. You couldn't tell with your sister. Joe spoke up after no one else did, to answer Elizabeth's question. He's taller than Elizabeth. It's crazy. Want to go down to the shopping street? It's been a while, and I don't think there's a lot of other things we could agree on. Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Unlike you guys, I haven't been there 1,001 times. It's new to me. Let's do it. Okay, if you guys really want to. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. No. Boy. Yeah? He strolled across the road as a group down to the beach and then to the left. It took less than 15 minutes to arrive, one of the conveniences of Sunset Bird. The four of you looked around the familiar shops, trying to see if anything caught attention this time. Derek was the most enthusiastic. He checked out every stall with his eyes wide with wonder. Elizabeth and Code were in good spirits as well. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, she would just kind of be like, ugh, summer's ending. I hate this. That's so cool! He ran over to a street magician who was currently doing a card trick for a group of enchanted tourists. Derek clapped and the magician showed a middle-aged man his card. Derek turned back to the group with a curious gleam on his face. What does it take to perform here anyway? Do you guys have to ask somebody, or do you just show up and start doing stuff? Why would you even ask? It's a public street. Who would even ask? Who would you even ask? It's a public street. Hey, Ms. Mayor, can I pull a rabbit out of my hat, please? Flopsy is well behaved, I promise. Derek chuckled, his eyes searching up and down the scene.
Maybe?
There's a boss at the shopping street? No one does any of this around my neighborhood. It's just regular stores behind walls. It's different if someone wants a real store, but here, I'm pretty sure people are just putting on their little shows whatever they want to do or whatever. Want and do whatever. That's so neat. Would we be allowed to do something too? Cove laughed and Derek began almost vibrating with excitement. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. That might be a good one. What would we do? Well, I don't know what. Not yet, I mean. I just thought it's a possibility, you know?
But
There's gonna be something. We know cool stuff. I'm sure if we thought about it, we could put on a show that'd really get a crowd pumped. You thought it was a great idea and wanted to be part of it. You felt he could try the idea on his own. You thought Derek needed to abandon that bad idea stat. You gave the other two a look. You thought it was a great idea and wanted to be part of it. Oh yeah, we totally should. Woo!
nice.
I knew I could count on you. Now we just need the act. It'll come to us. Right. With some amusement, the gang continued to peruse the stalls. Elizabeth found some earrings with a dangling, badly misprinted globe that everyone laughed at. Cole picked out a blob as Iceland, but Derek thought it had to be Greenland. Greenland is bigger. It probably is Greenland. Soon to be part of the United States. You know, this is a world with what looks like 9 continents. I think you're both wrong. It's a fantasy world. You want to decide with Cove. You agreed with your sister. No, it's Australia. The other three giggled at your interjection. Suddenly Cove froze. He stared at him and then tried to see what caught his attention. When he saw a familiar face down the way, it all made sense. Between the crowds, his bright hair stood out like a neon green bowl in a kitchen sink. It was Jeremy. It's Jeremy time. Jeremy slowly drifted his eyes down the street and his eyes widened in mutual recognition. He definitely noticed you. Derek frowned and Cove tensed up. You couldn't help but remember the last time you seen Jeremy at Miranda's birthday party. No wonder Cove was already defensive. I mean, they have to keep everybody that was in the moment, right? Plus, GB Patch loves these characters for some reason. You stood there shocked. You glared at Jeremy. You waved at Jeremy. You decided to smile at Jeremy. You looked away. You glared at Jeremy. You narrowed your eyes and projected your dislike. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow. Her gaze swept over Jeremy without a hint of a clue. Jeremy simply scoffed to himself and wandered deeper in the crowd of people. Derek relaxed and exhaled loudly. I'm glad he's not going to start anything. That's all we see of Jeremy, though. I'm pretty sure we don't actually get to interact. Maybe if we waved at him and tried to be friendly and go over to him and talk to him. We do not like this person. She would not want to talk to him. He peeked over at Elizabeth with a tiny smirk. Remember that. We don't like that person. See, that was the mean kid.
What?
She still didn't get it. The first summer day hadn't made nearly much of an impression on her as it did for Derek, but he smiled and wiped it off. Just forget about him. I already have. He laughed and Cove smiled lightly. He seemed in a much better mood now that Jeremy was gone. Your eyes wandered over to where Jeremy had disappeared. You hadn't forgotten the day you met him either. He was only going to be in town for a vacation with the parents he hated. That glimpse was probably the last time you'd ever see him. Yep, sure is. You mentioned that realization to everyone. You kept the thought to yourself. You broke from the group and went after Jeremy. No. Screw that. Well, that should be the last we'll ever see a bowl cut. I bet he's about to get out of here since the summer's over. Over.
Yeah.
Guess we won't have to worry about that guy anymore. Wow, we really won't have to worry about this guy anymore. Boy, howdy, it's sure like GB Patch doesn't just love this character and loves throwing him in our face. Derek kicked at a little rock on the road. It clattered forward and then rolled under a stall. But I still think it's kind of sad Jeremy turned out to be, well, like he is. It would have been nice to make another friend. Yeah, screw that. Cove shook his head. He was clearly not broken up over what might have been. Good riddance. I think I might want to see him again sometime. Maybe he'll be nicer in the future. Happy it's over. Good riddance. Elizabeth rolled her eyes at the strange farewell to the odd boy, not interested in the slightest. She clearly didn't understand his impact, and at this point she didn't want to understand. Hey, I punched this kid at Miranda's birthday party, Elizabeth, by the way. Jeremy was unlike anyone you'd ever met before. You thought he was horrible? You thought he was weird? You thought he was stupid? You thought he was kind of pitiful? You thought he was okay? You didn't know what to think about him. You thought he was kind of pitiful. You and the group moved on from the stall and from Jeremy. It didn't take long for everyone to return to the joking. You all enjoyed what little time you had left. As Elizabeth mentioned, the hour was almost up. The little trip had flown by, and the lunch meat must have been waiting for you by now. Derek bounced on the balls of his feet.
Okay.
Come on, guys, let's get going so we can eat. I'm starving. Let's go get us some beef patties. I'm starving. If we have to. I can't wait. Phew, I've had enough walking around. Homebound, here we go. I can't wait. Cove stretched one of his arms lazily. Let's go then. You looked at him appraisingly. He asked Cove to carry you back to the house. Gotta get them carries. You nodded at him. And you followed Elizabeth as she took it upon herself to lead the way home. She walked fast, much faster than Derek preferred. She kept gaining a lead. Then Derek would jog back up to the group. With Cove's long legs, he had no trouble keeping up. Poor Derek. You know what? Nah. You kept up with your sister and listened to her gab about how she was going to call her friends later and what they were up to. You didn't know everything she was talking about, but you gathered it was important to her. Cove mostly stayed out of the conversation, while Derek would ask the occasional question when he wasn't trailing behind. It was a pleasant walk home, and in no time you had made it back. Derek got to the front door and held it open for everyone as each of you moseyed inside. Of course he did. Of course he does that. I was that kid too. I still am. The three parents were still in the kitchen. They looked up and waved. Welcome back, everyone. You made it just in time.
Hey.
I hope you're hungry. I sure am, Mom. That's why I'm eating right now. So did everyone have a nice time out? She gestured for people to take a seat at the table. Plates and silverware had already been placed out. You took your normal seat. Elizabeth sat across from you and Derek took the seat to your left. Cove sat on your right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. It was fine. I had fun. I really liked it. It was okay, I guess. Yeah, the bank heist went off without a hitch. Your joke got some chuckles rolling around the table. That's good in my book. Casually, Mr. Holden sat in the empty seat across from Hove. He smiled at you and all the other kids. If there's ever a chance to deflect the situation, deflect answering a question with humor, that's Marina Foster. If you haven't noticed. She likes to deflect. Mom sat down a platter full of water glasses on the table. She looked down at the gathering. It's a good thing we have 8 chairs. I can't imagine. Remember the last time we've had a group this big over for a meal? Yeah, imagine if you suddenly downsized to like 6 chairs or something. Can you pass the drinks down the other side? Make sure you all get one. Sure. Those close to the cups obliged and started offering waters all around. As everything got set up, Ma chided Elizabeth to take her elbows off the table.
Now.
And you shouldn't slouch. She pointed at Mr. Holden, who was leaning forward with both arms on the table. Oops. Mr. Holden seemed unsure about all the sudden attention and carefully rearranged his posture for something suitable for a fancy dinner. He smiled sheepishly at Ma. Elizabeth rolled her eyes and Ma gave a level look at her. You shouldn't be impolite to a guest in the house, either. Elizabeth groaned in long suffering. Ma giggled, Mr. Holden chuckled.
Not bad.
There's a lot of you could learn a thing for two from Derek. He has the best manners here. Derek blushed, but it was true. His posture was upright and formal. He even held his fork gracefully. I don't have good posture. I have terrible sitting posture. His table manners, on top of all his attempts to aid your parents, made him the model of meal attending behavior. probably have a weird curved back because of it.
Aw.
It's true, though. You have been a lovely guest. You've been a lovely guest in this step, too, Derek. I've noticed that, too. It's always nice when you stay over, Derek. Derek smiled and sat a little taller in his chair. Do you have anything good to say about our other guest? She looked deliberately at Cove with a teasing smirk. Or is there just nothing to say? Well, Cove's my number one, but he still does clean his hands by wiping them on his pants. Da-da-da-da-da. Cove frowned at that and absentmindedly brushed his hands in his pants legs. Your mom's laughed lightly.
There.
Elizabeth, you should know after all these years, Cove is hardly a guest anymore. Cove smiled awkwardly. Thanks. Manners schmanners. Who cares? I don't think it's that big of a deal. You teased Cove for his bad habit. You complimented Derek on his politeness. You joked that Derek is basically an adult. You kept quiet and took it. Now let's embarrass Derek some more. Next time, Derek really is going to stay inside to cook. He's practically a mini adult. If he's joining us grown-ups, then you're going to have to treat him like one. So, okay, so Mr. Suarez, how go your taxes? Derek shook his head and chuckled. Everyone ate their meal together and continued to hang out for the afternoon. After the food, you and the others played a couple games and talked about plans for the upcoming year. Time passed by quickly, and soon it was time for you to part ways. Mr. Holden talked to your moms, and Cove drifted over to you, knowing that as soon as his dad finished up, he'd be leaving. It'd be cool to stay, but we have some stuff to do before everything closes today.
Okay.
Yeah, bye. Could you move? I need the phone. Cove raised an eyebrow, and Elizabeth impatiently gestured behind him. Cove realized he was staying right in front of where the receiver was placed. He sidestepped out of the way and shook his head, clearly thinking Elizabeth was rushing too much. Your sister made a beeline for the phone and started dialing the number of what you figured was one of her friends. Knowing Elizabeth, she was going to be on there for a while. You, Cove, and Derek shuffled closer to the door. It seemed like Mr. Holden was wrapping up his conversation, so everyone started saying their various farewells.
Talk to you later.
See you later, Cove. We gotta do this again sometime. Yeah, see you. Cove turned to you and smiled slightly. Bye, Marina. You hugged Cove goodbye, you patted Cove on the back, you nudged Cove's shoulder, you ruffled his Cove's hair, you waved. You nudged Cove's shoulder. He elbowed Cove's shoulder playfully. I'll see you later. I hope so. It's been fun. He grinned widely and nudged you back. There was a warm look in his eyes that you wondered when you'd see again. Me too.
Dude.
We'll have to hang out later. I'm gonna miss you during school. He offered Cove a high five and the two boys clapped their hands together. Cove and his dad left soon after that. Your parents started cleaning up in the house. Elizabeth was still chatting to her friend on the phone. It was just you and Derek left. He elected to stay outside in front of the house to wait for his dad to pick him up. You decided to keep your guest company, although he was originally Cove's visitor. Yeah, this is a moment here. I'm pretty sure this is it. I've been waiting for this. I'm crazy. This has gone by super fast. There's got to be more, right? A light summer breeze blew through your hair, and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot. Thanks for waiting with me. He kicked at the ground distractedly.
Well,
That's gonna be a while, so do you want to go for a walk? Sounds great. One last trip for the day. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering without a destination plan. This is Derek DLC stuff. It was a quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being company. You turned to him when you noticed that he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something you could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled up when he realized you were watching. At least his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything that really felt happy in the expression. He turned away and the smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground and you raised an eyebrow. This is gonna be rough. Just strap in. We're not ending yet, but this is gonna be rough. Is everything okay? If you want to talk about something, I'm here. Derek, what's going on? I'm a little sad. It's just, with school starting back up again, it's gonna be harder to visit. I'm gonna have homework and clubs and practices and everything else.
this sucks.
It really sucks that we go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together. This is really concerning him. What if we don't have time? He channeled some optimism in the conversation. He shared those worries. You channeled some optimism into the conversation. We'll make time. We can talk over the phone and have plans for weekends. It'll be okay. Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with low wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high with a jet stream trailing behind it. They turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was hard to read his expression. Hey, Marina, I actually wanted to talk to you about something, if you don't mind. It's time for the talk. Ah, young love. There was a pause, and you waited for him to finish his thought.
Sorry.
I was just kind of wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who was a boy? Sorry if that's weird to ask. I don't want to be with a guy, maybe. I don't know. You didn't answer him. I kind of don't want to talk about that. Oh boy. Here it is. I've been waiting for this, too. I think of all the people that she knows, Derek is the person that she would talk to the most, be willing to be open with. Derek is open with her all the time about stuff. Maybe Cove, because Cove is like her bestie best that you're kind of forced to, but I think she would talk to him. But this is the answer. Okay, then. He hesitated before finishing his question. So, what I mean is there any guy around you think is kind of cool? That you like around here? Not at school or anything like that. Derek. Do you like me, yes/no? He ducked his head further. You thought about it. I like you. Well, I like Cove. Mr. Holden. There are a lot of guys I think are cool. Not right now. I don't really want to say that. That's okay. I get... No, wait. That's... No. Actually, that's saying that... This is saying that you don't... This isn't I don't want to talk about it. This is I don't want to tell you. So it'd be not right now. Or we could say there are a lot of guys I think are cool.
Oh.
Derek shrugged and then started to mumble in wonder. Maybe you don't get what I'm trying to ask? Yeah, this is a better one. So... Derek pulled himself together somewhat meekly. He looked at you while he tried to project confidence. His posture was too tight for you to believe it. He was nervous. Is Derek gonna actually say it then?
Alright.
You know, thinking ahead and everything is important. You gotta get yourself a game plan and all that. It's good to make plans, especially backup plans. He babbled, all full of energy and forced gusto. Well, anyway, I heard about this thing where people make pacts with their good friends. If they don't find anyone else, then they get together, like they get married and stuff. So I was thinking, since it's good to have plans, it might be cool if we did something like that. His eyes widened and he started to make a frantic hand gestures. Just, you know, so that we'd never have to worry about the future or finding someone. We can set it up like a whole decade in the future, forever from now on. From now. We'd have graduated high school and probably college too. We'd have jobs and be really grown up. I mean, we'd probably have our own places and maybe our own pets and student loans and cars. Yeah, oh boy, Derek, jeez. Derek babbled on for a while more. It was all if all the words he held in silence during your walk had burst out now all at once. So, yeah, what do you think? This is why it's rough. Do you like me? You can just straight up ask you the... Oh, jeez. We're gonna ask that question. I want to know what happens if you say that. I mean, the real answer here is I don't think that would work. Sadly for Mr. Suarez, we're gonna have to break his poor little heart. But I want to see the answer to this. Of course I like you, but it's not. He had to pause, desperate to find a way to explain himself. Well, I don't have to think about that kind of thing right now. It's better to worry about that later when we're grown up. That's why it's a good idea to have a plan, you know? And, well, honestly, I think you and me would work out the best for that. So... Oh. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't think that would work. I'm sorry, Derek.
Aww.
Don't worry worry about it. That's okay. It was just an idea. Thanks for hearing me out and answering my questions and stuff. You felt a little worried that Derek wasn't happy. When he saw your face, he smiled encouragingly.
It's okay.
I promise I'm not mad. I was just wondering. Derek, you are gonna find somebody wonderful who is perfect for you, the way your mom is perfect for your dad. That somebody is not Marina. I'm sure things will be okay in the future, no matter what. You just nodded. So I am really curious what happens if you do the pact and then like get to step 4 10 years later and you can get married to Derek, I guess. That's kind of a fun idea, but she's not like that. It's quickly approaching and I'm so excited. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. Yeah, so we're gonna be back. We broke this. Let's finish this. Derek found all kinds of fun things to talk about as you walk side by side back to your street. And you plop back down the curb outside your house, hugging your arms around your legs. His voice was comforting, and you were grateful that Derek was keeping you both distracted from the inevitable. For a little while longer, it was still summer vacation. You listened while he excitedly told you all about his new action movie coming out in a few months. And then you watched his brow pitch as he described the new ball tricks he'd been working on perfecting. It was easy to laugh along to his tales. You enjoyed the shine in his green eyes most when the conversation shifted funny stories about his little brothers. Almost hard to believe that much time has passed at all. When a couple of short honks rang out in the neighborhood, snickering, Derek scratched the back of his neck. Dad's here. He looked up the street and spotted the van coming around the corner. Mrs. Suarez was cheerfully waved her arm out the window from the shotgun seat. Oh, and Mom too. Guess we know what that means. Yep, we guess we know what that means. And we'll see you next time for the conclusion of this.